Overcome social anxiety for good. What if the fear that holds you back isn't real? Think about that for a second. What if the anxiety that grips you in social situations, the racing heart, the shaky hands, the overwhelming need to escape, is nothing more than a programmed response, a habit your mind created? And what if, starting today, you could rewire that programming and take back control? Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to have the tools to break free from the chains of social anxiety. Not just ideas, not just theories, real, actionable steps that will change your life if you apply them. The truth about social anxiety. Most people who struggle with social anxiety believe one thing: I'm just not good with people. Or, it's just the way I am. But that's not the truth. That's a story you've been telling yourself. And today we're rewriting that story. Here's a fact. You weren't born socially anxious. Think about it. Babies don't hesitate to scream, laugh, or reach out for attention. Somewhere along the way, something changed. Maybe you were criticized, maybe you had an embarrassing moment, maybe you felt rejected. Whatever it was, your mind decided, people are a threat. Attention is dangerous. But then, what if that belief is wrong? What if social anxiety isn't a life sentence, but a habit that can be unlearned? What if confidence is nothing more than a skill, a muscle you can train? Step 1. Shift your focus. Social anxiety thrives on one thing: self-focus. When you walk into a room, what's running through your head? Do I look okay? Am I saying the right thing? What if I mess up? Here's the truth. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you think they are. People are not judging you. They're too busy judging themselves. Every person in that room has their own insecurities, their own doubts. And the ones who seem confident? They learn to shift their focus outward. Scientific insight. A study published in Journal of Anxiety Disorders found that individuals with social anxiety disorder tend to overestimate how much others notice and negatively evaluate them. This phenomenon, known as the spotlight effect, creates an illusion that everyone is watching and judging when in reality most people are absorbed in their own concerns. A follow-up study in cognitive therapy and research reinforced this, demonstrating that individuals who practiced cognitive restructuring techniques, such as deliberately shifting attention outward, significantly reduced their self-perceived anxiety levels and increased their ability to engage socially. Action item. Next time you enter a social situation, shift from "how do I look" to "how can I make someone else feel comfortable?" Instead of worrying about yourself, become curious about others. Ask questions. Listen. When you make it about them, your anxiety has no room to grow. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Dalai Lama. Step 2. Change your physiology. Your body and mind are connected. When you feel anxious, what happens? Your shoulders tense, your breathing gets shallow, your movements shrink. And guess what? That posture signals your brain, we're in danger. But then, what if you could flip the switch? Scientific insight. A Harvard study led by Amy Cuddy discovered that adopting a power pose for just 2 minutes can significantly reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, and increase testosterone, the confidence hormone. This means that simply changing your posture before a social event can trick your brain into feeling more confident. Further research in psychological science found that individuals who actively engaged in open, expansive postures before entering high-stress social interactions reported lower anxiety and performed better in social evaluations. Action item. Try this. Next time you're in a social situation, before you enter, stand tall, take 3 deep breaths, and imagine yourself as the most confident person in the room. Walk in like you own the place. Your mind will follow your body's lead. The way you stand, the way you move, the way you breathe affects the way you feel. Amy Cuddy. Presence. Step 3. Rewire your mind with better questions. Your brain is a problem-solving machine. Ask it the wrong question and it will give you a disempowering answer. Ask, "Why am I so awkward?" Your brain will find reasons. Instead, ask, "What's the best thing that could happen?" Scientific insight. A meta-analysis published in Cognitive Behavior Therapy reviewed over 50 studies and found that individuals who engaged in cognitive reframing, a core principle of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, significantly reduced social anxiety symptoms over time. The brain begins to form new neural pathways that promote confidence instead of fear. A study in neuropsychology further demonstrated that the brain exhibits increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for rational thinking, when individuals deliberately shift their internal dialogue to focus on positive outcomes rather than fears. Action item. Every time you catch yourself asking a negative question, replace it with a positive one. Your thoughts create your reality. Choose wisely. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Henry Ford. Step 4. Expose yourself to discomfort. Avoidance strengthens anxiety. The more you avoid social situations, the stronger the fear becomes. But then, what if you leaned into the discomfort instead of running from it? Scientific insight. Exposure therapy, a treatment based on research published in Behavior Research and Therapy, shows that repeated exposure to feared social situations reduces anxiety over time. This is known as desensitization. A study in the Journal of Clinical Psychology found that individuals who consistently engaged in gradual exposure to social situations over a period of 6 weeks reported a 50% reduction in self-reported social anxiety symptoms. Action item. Set a daily challenge. 1 small social interaction a day. Start small, build up. Progress is progress. Do one thing every day that scares you. Eleanor Roosevelt. Step 5. Master the power of reframing. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "You wouldn't worry so much about what others think of you if you realized how seldom they do." What if, instead of seeing social anxiety as a weakness, you saw it as an opportunity? A chance to grow, to strengthen yourself, to become the person you were meant to be. Scientific insight. Studies on neuroplasticity reveal that the brain is malleable. The more you practice confidence-building behaviors, the stronger those neural pathways become. Over time, fear is replaced by confidence. A study published in Nature Neuroscience found that individuals who actively reframe their fears by associating them with a positive challenge rather than a threat experience long-term reductions in anxiety responses. The amygdala, the brain's fear center, becomes less reactive as a result of consistent reframing techniques. Action item. Every time you feel anxiety creeping in, reframe it. Change the language in your mind. Instead of "I'm nervous," say, "I'm excited for this challenge." Your brain believes the words you feed it. Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. George Adair. Additional wisdom from great minds. Throughout history, great leaders, thinkers, and visionaries have grappled with fear and self-doubt. They have left us with wisdom that can guide us on our journey to overcoming social anxiety. Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. Brené Brown, TED speaker and author of Daring Greatly. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability has shown that connection happens when we allow ourselves to be seen, flaws and all. Social anxiety stems from fear of judgment, but the paradox is that true connection happens when we stop trying to be perfect and embrace our authenticity. Action item. The next time you feel anxious, remind yourself that perfection isn't required. Just showing up and being present is enough. Do what you can, with what you have, where you are. Theodore Roosevelt. President Roosevelt faced incredible adversity throughout his life. His words remind us that we don't need to have everything figured out. We just need to take action with what we have right now. Scientific insight. A study in motivation and emotion found that individuals who take small, immediate actions in high-stress situations feel more in control, reducing anxiety and fostering confidence over time. Action item. Choose one small social goal today, whether it's making eye contact, giving a compliment, or initiating a short conversation. Action builds momentum. Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. William James, philosopher and psychologist. James, one of the pioneers of modern psychology, believed in the power of mindset. If we act with confidence, even when we don't feel it, our brain starts to believe it's true. This concept is backed by behavioral psychology. Small acts of bravery create new neural pathways that reinforce confidence. Action item. The next time you enter a social situation, act as if you are confident. Walk tall, speak clearly, and engage with others. Your brain will follow. Fear is stupid, so are regrets. Marilyn Monroe. Monroe reminds us that while fear may feel overwhelming in the moment, it is fleeting. Regret, however, lasts much longer. Avoiding social interactions out of fear only strengthens social anxiety. Facing them builds freedom. Final thought. The only way out is through. Imagine a life where you are free, where you walk into a room with confidence, where you speak without fear, where you no longer feel trapped by your own mind. That life is possible, not someday, not for other people, for you. But change doesn't happen by listening, it happens by doing. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one action item from today and do it. Right now. Whether it's fixing your posture, shifting your focus, or saying hello to a stranger. Just take one step. And if you learned something new today, if something I said resonated with you, subscribe, hit that notification icon, and like this video. Not just for me, but for you. Because every time you do, you're telling your brain, I am committed to my growth. And that's how you win. See you in the next video.